What can be shared? All relationships offer fulfillment, but most do not deliver it because people become codependent. They take false responsibility for others and not enough responsibility for self. And then they blame others for their misfortunes. It's a vicious cycle. One can be happy with another, one can be sad with another. Joy and sadness can be shared. But one's joy is not the other's responsibility, nor is one's sadness. All thoughts and feelings are our own responsibility. Until we know that, it is almost impossible to live successfully with another person. Even when we do know it, remembering it in our partner's presence becomes a constant spiritual practice. To be with another is an ecstatic experience, just as it is ecstatic to be with ourselves. But being with is a moment-to-moment act. It has nothing to do with what our ego wants or what our partner's ego wants. My ego wants you to be there for me, whether you want to or not. My ego wants to blame you for my unhappiness. My ego wants you to do things the way I want them done. And no matter what you try to do to satisfy my ego, it will never be satisfied because it won't take responsibility for its own happiness. As soon as ego takes responsibility, it ceases to be ego. And then I stop demanding things from you. I began to accept you as you are. I surrender to the present moment, to the truth of who I am and you are. That is the moment of true joining, when the boundaries between us fade, not because they have been totally honored. That is the moment when two become one without losing what they are, without sacrifice, without expectation. That is a moment of total bliss, a moment when the promise of love without conditions is fulfilled. Partnership. I don't know why anyone would think that loving another person would be any easier than loving oneself. If you have trouble being kind to yourself, accepting your mistakes with compassion, forgiving your judgments, walking through your fears, how can you expect to do the same for another? If you have trouble bringing love to the wounded child within who is crying out in pain, how can you bring love to wounded aspects of your partner's being? It is not possible to offer your partner what you are unable to offer yourself. To attempt to do so will only bring pain to yourself and the other. You need to start where you are, not where you wish to be. If you are angry, you must start with your anger. If you are lonely, insecure, seeking validation through others, you must bring your awareness there. I don't say that you can't do this in a relationship. You certainly can, if both people have the willingness to help each other look at their wounds. But to help your partner look at her wounds requires that you accept her just as she is. If you need to change her, fix her, analyze her, you cannot create a safe space for her to look at her pain. She can look at her pain only when she feels safe being with it. And she can feel safe only when she knows she is not being judged. Love is built on acceptance and trust, not on judgment and interpretation. That bears repeating. Love is built on acceptance and trust, not on judgment and interpretation. Creating a safe space is an easy thing to do when you can leave your fears behind. You have all done this for other people at some time in your life. You have risen to the occasion of their need and set your own issues aside. You have been there for them, perhaps not with words, but with your presence, your caring, your emotional support. I'm not talking about something you don't know how to do, but it isn't easy to create a safe space for others when your own buttons are being pushed, when your own fear is rising, when your mind is going crazy with one judgment after another. It isn't even easy to create a safe space for yourself, yet that is what you must learn to do. You must learn to be in fear without beating yourself up, without projecting your self-judgment onto others. You must learn to make your fear your companion and walk with it. You must know that your fear is about, what your fear is about, and what your pain is about, before you try to step beyond them. When you have walked patiently with pain and fear, you are led to a deeper place of compassion with yourself. You are led into the heart, and in the heart you feel not only your own pain and fear, but the pain and fear of everyone you meet. To love is to be in the heart. You cannot love from any other place. Love is not a magic potion. It is not the raging of hormones. It has very little to do with sexuality, although sexuality can be an expression of love. Love is the acceptance of your partner as she is. It is about letting her into your heart. There are no techniques that can take you there. There is just your own love and acceptance of yourself. That alone calls to the beloved and tells her she is welcome. Every time you are able to feel another person's pain without feeling responsible for it, without trying to change it or fix it, just feeling it in your heart, you rest in arms of love. There is nothing complex or esoteric here, but there is a great challenge and endless opportunities to practice. Ecstasy. To love yourself is an ecstatic art, but loving yourself requires practice from moment to moment. It means learning to embrace your pain with your pleasure, your sadness with your joy, your failures with your successes. It means learning to trust your guidance and accepting your mistakes as opportunities to learn, grow, and be more in tune with yourself and others. The more you love yourself moment to moment, the more the spiritual adult learns to embrace the wounded kid, and the more the imperfect, mistake-prone kid learns to accept her divine perfection. If you have touched the beloved within yourself in this way, then it will not be difficult for you to touch the beloved in your partner. You understand that, like you, she is acceptable in this moment, even when she is cranky and judgmental. You see through her persona to the real person, just as you learn to embrace contradictory states of consciousness in yourself. You learn to embrace your partner's contradictions, her awkwardness and unfinishedness. Funny word. In embracing what is, all that you thought was lacking is found to be present. Your beloved is the perfect beloved for you. Indeed, each moment, as it unfolds, is the perfect moment if you can accept it unconditionally. Perfection is never found in the outside object. It is found in the attitude of the one who looks. When the lens through which you look is clear, all objects seen through that lens are beautiful. Ecstasy does not depend on anyone else. It requires only your presence. When you are present, heaven reveals itself in all its glory. Without your presence, there is no ecstasy. You see, it does not matter who the beloved is. Anyone can be the beloved if you are present. Any situation can be ecstatic when you surrender to it, when you accept it without judgment. A safe space. There is no way you can anticipate what will happen in your life. There is no way you can plan for it. The next moment is always a total surprise. After all, you are on the road to now here. Tomorrow you could literally be anywhere. The fact that you wake up in the same bed that you woke up in yesterday is no proof that you will wake up there tomorrow. You think it's proof, but it's not. It's just part of the pattern you are habitually extending. But all habits come to an end because they lose energy, and without energy you can't live. So you will find a way to liberate yourself from your own sluggish patterns. Everyone needs energy to live, and energy depends on transformation, on growth in consciousness. When there is an expansion of consciousness, form cracks, a new form becomes necessary. The more you grow in consciousness, the more you move through various forms. It can be a little disorienting. It can feel a little unsafe. That is why it is so important that you learn to create a safe space for yourself, a space of self-nurturing. And if you are in a partnership, you need to know how to create that safe space together on an ongoing basis. To move forward in growth, there must be assimilation and grounding of the new material. New forms must be inhabited fully. You cannot withstand the explosion of form in your life without coming to embrace yourself with great compassion. You cannot grow and change with your partner without learning to offer each other unconditional acceptance and love.